is the difference between an MTV Spring Break special and a specialty news channel. We can obviously say there's no drunken fights on CNN, there's no basic cable porn on Fox, and there's no fights between bro-hoes on MSNBC. But what about the comments made? Don't you think there should be some sort of standards upheld that's a little different for our news media versus our trash TV? Poisoning the wine of Nancy Pelosi. This was the topic of the Glenn Beck show in August 2009. People living in Katrina trailers, Section 8 housing, and on welfare shouldn't be allowed to vote. This was the topic of a Neil Bork's radio show. Both of these actual clips can be found on MediaMatters.org. Today I will be addressing you the lower standards in media and explaining how these standards started to slip, the effects they're having on our lives, and some solutions that we can all do in our own simple lives to maybe kind of hire our own standards instead of listening to this trash all the time. So let's start by talking about the moral code that used to be upheld. A while back, we'll say 50 years or so, there used to be kind of different standards in all around newspapers, TV, much more about crime and politics, slight propaganda, but of course that's normal when you're trying to beat out another guy. But it can be said, as Gore says in Graphic Death in the News, present or absent, that things like death was a taboo subject, and that death was forbidden in modern society because Western culture places a high standard on love and joy. This was said by Felipe Aries. Now, why would these things change? Why would we go from having standards that guarded us to letting these things be said about somebody such a high-ranking official in our own lives? Well, the world has changed, citizens' needs have changed, and the role of journalism must change as well. That's according to Denny Elliott, a professor of ethics, in his article, Balance and Context, Maintaining Media Ethic. So with all this kind of shock value, they've just come to compete against each other, and their standards have just tanked. But we let it happen, and we all do. So the effect of this, I can kind of show you an extreme example. It's something some of you guys have seen, some of you haven't. In 1975, there was a woman and her daughter, and they were in a burning building. A young man who's a reporter, or a photographer, for Boston Herald actually, his name was Stanley Foreman, was sent to go do the reporting on it. The woman and her daughter were not going to be able to make it out. There was no way to save them. So the woman decided to jump out of the building, taking her young daughter with her. The woman died on impact, and her child only lived because she fell on her corpse. I want to show you this picture that won him his first Pulitzer Prize. This is the photo here. This is the woman that's falling out of the building. It did win him his Pulitzer Prize. And that's her daughter, who only survived by landing on her dead body. This here is, well, kind of what I'm trying to explain to you, where someone's morals are kind of seeping into our own. This is a photo by a photographer, Ryan McKinley, and this is his artistic fashion photos. He was inspired by the scene of death. All the pictures in this shot are of this hot, new young model in different dresses falling from different balconies. He attributes this to Stanley Foreman's photos in 1975. So with things like this infiltrating our media, you can easily see how it goes from being, just one instant like this to watching Heidi Montag on the hills in her cat lady face. And we accept all these different types of things. But we've been conditioned to think that these things are okay, and that's the effect it's having on us. How many times have you had an argument with someone, and instead of trying to find an actual resolution, you call her a bitch and walk away? These are the things that we're seeing on our cable networks right now. We don't think that it's wrong. So I want to share some simple ideas to recondition us from being so dependent on what we hear all the time. I'm not saying that television is bad. I'm not saying that you can't sit at home and watch a movie and dig out to Transformers all you want. I don't care about that. But we can do different things. For one, for television, you don't have to just watch, VH1 all the time. You can watch PBS. PBS is a channel everyone can get, even if you don't subscribe to any more than the basic 6 channels or whatever it is. And their basic mission statement is to help you connect and participate in all things educational, social, and political. And it's not even just for adults. It's for children too, so you don't have to feel like they're being left out. And if you don't want to stay home, you can do things like support the arts if you want to watch something. Go to a theater. Go to the McCollum that's right over here. Or you can come here to COD and you can watch one of their shows. Apparently this will help with something called Parking Lot Campus Parking Lot, so I hear. So you can do things like that. And the last thing is to do something outside. The valley here is actually really beautiful. I've lived in other places and this is a really nice place. You can go outside and do things. And you can find these things to do. Flyers in your P.O. box. Going to the library, they always have ads there. Or you can go to where I found some on, Coachella Valley Events. Sorry, CoachellaValleyEvents.org. And they actually have a Facebook page now too. We all have a Facebook page. So you can constantly be updated to the new things that are going around, free things. Like, did you know the Palm Desert Park over here, on the weekends they have instruments there for you to go and learn how to play. Totally free to go. So now that we know what things that we see and the things that we hear are impacting our lives, we know the effects it's having, and we know how we can kind of fix them. So I hope that you guys realize that all this change has to start at a personal level. You have to decide and you have to adhere to these rules for yourself and for your children before things get any worse. And remember that no matter how famous you guys get in the future, it's not okay to publicly threaten to poison a political official. Thank you.